already have 4 comments in the chat. This is awesome. Hello? Oh, I'm being an airhead. Hi, everybody. Couldn't see the chat. I'm like, what's going on? Hello. Hi. Hi, Gil. Oh, of course I said hello, so my dogs are going crazy. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Tina. And I said hello, and Siri's going crazy. This is nuts. Okay, I have several iPhones, so I decided to set up my old iPhone. I didn't realize how different it is from my new iPhone, so I set up an old one. Hi, Michelle. Yeah, this is awesome. So I decided to set up another phone watching YouTube. So this is kind of cool. So we'll see how this works out. But my old phone is it's older. I think it's like a 6. And so it's a little bit different, but it doesn't have, it has like less space on it actually, free than my iPhone X. So I use my main iPhone a lot. Like I think I had about 4,000 or 5,000 pictures on it. So I needed to start deleting a bunch of stuff. And then of course I do video on it. So it really takes up the space. Hi guys from Facebook. Good evening, Fleetwood Patch. What's up, Dutch? What's going on? So glad you could make it. And I really hope I don't bore anybody this evening, but I just want to talk about some topics, specifically like the medication topic, because I am on medication. So I wanted to talk about that. And then I wanted to talk about seeds and how important it is. Like, you get those emergency seed packets and how everybody purchases them, but they have no idea how to grow the seeds. Or they get things in there like asparagus, and it's not really, I mean, though I guess, it's sustainable, like if you plant it, but you won't get food for like 2 years if you just plant asparagus. So there's certain things that I wanted to talk about this evening. So, hey, Skinner Farms. I don't know how to pronounce that. Vitra? V? I'll just call you V. Well, hello everybody on Facebook as well. Hey, Sherry. This is fun. Okay, so let's talk. I thought I'd do seeds first, if everybody's okay with that. So I wanted to talk about seeds that are really easy to grow. Anybody have any idea about what seeds are really, really easy to grow? You can comment below. So I am going to go with my first packet of seeds that are really easy to grow, and that is radishes. And when I was younger, I used to hate radishes. I hated them, and it's not really ideal for kids. However, if you are growing them, they're really cool for kids because they grow super fast. So yep, I'm on YouTube, so you can check me out there. Radishes are really, really easy to grow. And these specific ones are the French breakfast, and it takes 25 days for these to grow. And they are really good. And like Sherry said, they are really good roasted. And you know what? They're really good roasted. I put them in a pan, and I put some parsley flake on them, a little bit of butter, and then you put them in the oven, and they taste just almost like a potato, but without all the starches. So they're really good. So I highly suggest putting radishes in your rations for seeds because they're really easy to grow. And if you don't really know anything about gardening, these ones are more than likely going to pop up for you. So that was one of them. Oh, I know. They grow anywhere. Oh, you do hear an echo? That's weird because I'm sorry. I don't even know how I can fix that. Okay, so Gil said lettuce, cantaloupe, and kale. Oh, you have 2 laptops, so that's why, you goofball. So lettuce, cantaloupe, and kale. I have never grown cantaloupe, so I don't know how fast that is to grow, but it would be really, really awesome to grow that in your garden for something sweet, because cantaloupe is really awesome. Yeah, Gil, he has 2 laptops going. He's being goofy. Okay, so we talked about lettuces. Yeah, lettuces. I have a neighbor who said that it's really, really hard to grow lettuce. And I was kind of taken back by that. Lettuce to me is not hard to grow at all. I grew some in the fall. Now, I guess it depends on where you grow it. If you grow it in the spring, a lot of times before it fully matures, it gets too hot. I know here it does. Like, you have to really watch the frost and make sure you don't kill it. And then by the time like May 20th comes around, it's like 80 degrees and your lettuce is gross. Yeah, I think lettuce is super easy. So this time around, we decided to do it in the fall, and I had beautiful heads of lettuce. Like, beautiful. It was really kind of impressive. I was like really proud of myself. If you look on my Facebook, you will see like some of my pictures of my backdrops and stuff that I use, because I took some really awesome pictures. Yes, when it's beginning to cool off. The fall was probably my best crop. Like, the best. I actually had so much lettuce, I had to give it away. And right now I still have lettuce out there that I could not believe. I planted some red Merlot lettuce and it's still out there growing and thriving. So I was like really kind of taken back by that, because I didn't think that it would survive. Because, I mean, it's cold. I mean, it hasn't been near as cold as most winters around here. But it's been cold enough to kill things off. So, lettuce, okay? And you don't have to necessarily grow lettuce in a head, okay? You can chop lettuce right from the beginning and not let it grow to a head. And I have done that a lot. And I have gotten maybe 5 or 6 meals out of just the lettuce that I had grown, just by taking some scissors. You don't pull it out, but just taking some scissors and just trimming the top of it and using like leaf lettuce as a salad instead of just pulling out the whole head. Hey, Pathways Homestead, what's going on? Thanks for stopping in, guys. But yeah, so I highly suggest that. So, but we plan on hopefully selling some lettuce in the fall next year. So I do want those full heads. And I did have some really, Paris Island was one that was super easy to grow, and it got huge. So we had some really big heads of lettuce. Hey, the Tinker's wife, Patty, thanks for stopping in. Hey, Jess. FYI, we are going live with Jess right after this live. There's going to be like a half-hour break in between. And from like 11 to 12, we're having a pajama party. So everyone's invited, and just to come and hang out and drink and whatever, and we're just having a good time. So if anybody wants to just hang out and de-stress, I know there's a lot of things going on right now that is causing, like me last night, I stayed up until like 4:30 in the morning with my eyes glued to the TV. So things right now are very stressful. So if you are stressed out, come to the pajama party. We're going to have a good time. We're going to laugh. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay. So moving on. So we were talking about lettuce. What about mustard greens? What about kale? Those 2 things are super easy to grow. And in fact, when I first moved in here, the previous owners had planted some kale at the end of their garden, and it was huge. Huge. It was like the biggest kale that I ever seen. My husband, we didn't know exactly what it was, what kind. But my husband actually took the lawnmower and mowed it over, and it still grew back. So kale is prolific. And if you want something easy to grow, especially in a time when you really, really need it the most for food, kale is one of them. Yeah, okay. I don't know. I've never had kale like sweet. So a lot of people say that you harvest kale when it's really cold and you get that all the flavors come out of it. And I would really like to do that because most of the time that I've had kale, it's like in a soup or something. And it's never really, I mean, I'll eat it, but it's not like, oh, something I'll grab. Like, oh, I'm really craving some kale. That's not me. Thanks for coming back, Dutch. Okay, so yeah, okay, kale's your favorite. What other vegetables have grown super fast? That is fast, easy to grow, and you can harvest and save for later. Kale is one of them because you can put that in the freezer. Lettuce, you cannot. Doesn't last as long. So, oh, I'm super excited because I'm getting a juicer. My aunt is getting rid of some stuff, and she had like two juicers and a bread maker or bread machine. And so she is getting rid of it. And she's like, do you want these? And I'm like, yeah. So I'm giving her some free eggs for a bread maker and a juicer. So I'm really excited because I'm going to grow. I've got these free mustard Japanese giant red from Baker Creek. So I'm going to grow those and I'm going to try and do some juice because it's really good for you. Swiss chard. I've never had that. And I remember, oh, hi, Darren. I saw you pop in. But yeah, so I heard that Swiss chard is really good for you, but M.I. Gardner is allergic to celery, and he actually uses Swiss chard to put peanut butter and stuff in, like celery. So I think a spicy, okay. My husband and I don't know if you guys ever seen that video on Netflix. It's the Mean Green video with the Mean Green guy and how he went across our country. He's Australian and he went across our country drinking nothing but vegetables. Like he was the meat, and like it's really inspiring actually to watch this guy because he had so many things wrong with him, and he's like, I'm tired and I'm sick, and he's like, I'm just going to do nothing but just juice vegetable. And he did it for like months. Like, and he went to every single farmer stand, and he even brought his juicer with him to like to motels and stuff where he was staying, and he drank nothing but juice all day long. And of course he didn't die, he's still alive, but it was super healthy, and he totally lost all this weight, and he looks so good, and he just did it by Mean Green. It was kind of inspiring. My husband and I did it for like 2 days, and we were starving to death. Starving. And like we could not even get past it anymore. Like you do 1 apple, a bunch of kale, and like a squeeze of lemon, like a little knob of ginger root or something like that, and you juice it and you put all this stuff, and it was just like it was okay at first, like because you're all excited and stuff, and then after a while it's just like, man, I can't drink this anymore. And then of course I went to a baby shower and they had like have all this wonderful food, and here I am sitting with this horrible shake. It was like horrible. So yeah, so Mean Green, that's something to think about. Hi, our cabin in the woods, and hi, the best life. Thanks for coming in. Unless you're juicing a cow. Yeah, isn't that the truth? Yeah, I think I don't know. It's cool to like have like 1 drink a day. Like I could do that, but not every day, all day. I don't think I could do that. So, okay. So mustards, that's really something that grows really fast. Mustard greens. Kale grows really fast. Let me talk a little bit about beans. And these are my dragon tongue bush beans. And it was this last summer was my first time ever growing these. And I was really inexperienced in growing beans. But I tell you, I only put 2 of these in each hole, and every single one of them popped up, and they were amazing. These beans were so awesome. And they were really, I had a ton of them, like I planted them like in the fall though, because they grow in 60 days. So it was super fast. And it was awesome. Like we put them on salads. I mainly ate them raw. Like I didn't even cook them because I put them in my salad. You could snap them and just eat them. They were really, really, really good. Yeah, the dragon, good. Yeah, Patty, the dragon tongue bush beans are really, really, really good. Juice a Reuben sandwich. By the way, I love turkey Reubens. I don't actually like the meat that's on a Reuben. I like turkey with like sauerkraut on it, and then the Swiss cheese and the Thousand Island dressing. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Every once in a while we eat that. Yes, that's another good one. Gail, is tomatoes. We actually, this was our first year, or this is the first time actually I've ever seen it, but we had a ton of volunteer tomatoes this year. And it was mainly because we had the cherry tomatoes and our birds loved them. So we would just take them and pull them off and throw them over the fence to the birds. And then we had like a ton of them like that fell or whatever, and they were in a raspberry bush. Bushes, and we just had a ton of volunteer cherry tomatoes. No juiced Reuben sandwich. That's so gross. Yeah, that's really gross. Hey, Bomber Steve, thanks for coming in. Harassing people. But yeah, so that's another thing that's going to grow really, really, really fast is beans. And I had I don't know, I guess I had an epiphany and decided to get a ton of beans this year. So in my collection, I have light red kidney beans. And I have the red noodle bean, which I can't wait to grow. I'm not growing a whole bunch of cucumbers this year, and because of the bugs. But last year I grew so many cucumbers that I have tons of pickles coming out my ears over here. And so therefore I won't just need them to pickle. So I'm just going to grow them just for like all summer because I really love cucumber salad, and I like cucumbers on my salad. So I'm going to just grow like maybe 1 or 2 cucumber plants just to have them for my personal use, not just a can or anything. Is still in bed is better than a milk. Yeah, I've never grown noodle beans. This will be my first year, so I'm really hoping it works out. I have a whole row in my garden of trellis, cattle panel trellises, and I wanted to do a couple of those, these on those. So, and then I wanted to talk about pinto beans. That's another one I got. So I'm going to try and grow these as well. Beans will last forever. You can dry them. You can put them, you can can them. You can dry can them. And these will last forever. And they are also protein. So they are really good for you to eat. And a lot of people can't handle these. I'm one that can't eat beans all the time. If I did, I would be really sick. So a lot of people put baking soda in with the beans, and it really helps with the gases that come out of the beans. And sorry, I'm just trying to catch up on the chat. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, beans are a magical fruit, I tell you what, but it doesn't work that way for me. It just makes my stomach hurt. I don't have a gallbladder, and then I also have some other stomach issues, and I also can't eat corn, which really sucks. That I can't eat corn anymore. And so when I have beans, I get really, really, really sick. So if I have too many, like I can't eat them like 2 or 3 days in a row. But yeah, I got kidney beans, and so I got pinto beans, and so I'm gonna take a stab at growing a ton of beans this summer, because they're easy to can and they're really good. Like you can mix it up. I don't know if you guys watch Living Traditions at all, but she has this really awesome thing. I just recently acquired an Instapot. My husband got me one maybe like 3 months ago or something like that at a yard sale. And you can put your beans in the Instapot and they cook super fast. And so Living Traditions has this really good like taco recipe with the beans. So I've been dying to try that. I don't really know what I have. I assume I have diverticulitis or something like that. When I had most of my problems, I went to the doctor and she wanted to do an ultrasound, but it was right amongst the sickness. And at that point in time, I did not want to go to the hospital for anything. I didn't care if I was deathly ill or not. So, yeah, I don't really know what I have, but I really have to watch what I eat. However, I can eat seeds and stuff like that. And I never had a problem with that, but I just can't have corn. And I have to really watch with beans. So. Yeah. Hi, Big Dreams Homestead. I just accepted your friend request on Facebook. I understand, Gil. I had to put my son to bed before this, so I completely understand. But okay, so let's talk about some other things that grow really, really fast and are not hard to grow, because onions, broccoli, cauliflower, depending on where you live, some of those won't grow at all because it's too hot. And then also they're really, really, really hard to grow. I know I've struggled with those. And though I really like those vegetables, I have a really hard time growing them. And if you want to grow them organically, you really have to keep on them, or the bugs will just eat them a lot, eat them down to nothing, and then you won't have any. Weeds. Yes, brassicas are challenging to grow, and unfortunately, they are one of my favorite vegetables to eat. So, those are things that are so challenging. And for someone that had bought a seed, let's say, for instance, you bought an emergency seed packet that has like 50 seeds and 50 varieties of vegetables of the sort growing in there. Now, half of them are going to be brassicas and onions. And then they throw in, say, for instance, some asparagus. And that's like half your seeds that are going to be really challenging for someone who is new to gardening and doesn't know how to grow those things. Not to mention, that is not fast. So if you are looking for food right off the bat, those items are not going to be easy to grab. They're not going to be easy to grow either. Sorry, I'm just reading the comments. Where do you live, Best Life? Yeah, mustard spinach. That's interesting. European spinach. That's interesting. And I didn't mention spinach yet, but there are several types of spinach that is really, really easy to grow, and you can get nutrition from it fast. There are proteins in spinach. It's really good for you. They say like eggs and the spinach omelet for breakfast is probably like one of the best things that you could ever eat. So Oh, you're in Eastern Montana? I'm sorry. They said there's supposed to be like a really, really hard snowstorm coming in that direction. That's what I heard anyway. Polar vortex, another one or something. Our cabin in the woods, I thought about getting a mic, but I just didn't want to complicate things, and so I never got one. But yeah, so those are just some items that I thought that people just need to know about that can grow really quick. Radishes are definitely one of them. The beans, the mustard greens, the lettuce, those things grow really fast and they're really easy to grow. So more than likely, if you just throw the seeds in the ground, something's going to pop up. Eggs and spinach, yeah. They say that is like one of the best things that you can eat for breakfast. Yes. If you are on blood thinners, you do have to watch what I don't know what it's called, the green that's in it. I think it's chloroform or something, is not good for the medication. So you do really have to watch. My mom is on blood thinners, so yeah, you really have to watch that. But okay, so what other vegetables have you successfully grown? I know for me personally, I can't grow corn. I have a heck of a time growing corn. If you don't know anything about corn, you're not going to have a successful crop. So along with these items, chlorophyll, yeah. Along with these items, you may need a book to explain gardening to you. Maybe a beginner's book or something like that. If you do not have any information as far as that's concerned, like you don't know. I would assume that most people know how to keep a plant alive, or they have a house plant, or they have, flower bed in their house. If you live in the city, you may have a flower bed or try to grow some tomatoes on your front porch or something like that. So I assume some people know a little bit about gardening, but not everybody. So you may need a gardening book, a beginner's guide. I know some of those packets do come with some kind of information on them, but how extensive is that information going to be? Oh, that's interesting, Darren. I didn't know that. So, yeah, those are just some things that I wanted to touch on that possibly, you have to think about if you are growing food for survival. That, is a lot, you got to think about it, these things, because, yeah, you can grow rhubarb and you can grow horseradish and you can grow those things, but you're not going to get food quickly. You're not going to get it. So there are certain herbs too that grow really fast, and cilantro grows really fast. Basil grows really fast, and those herbs can, really help you get through, the boring beans. If you're going to eat nothing but beans, there's some herbs out there that can really help you with that. So yes, chives. I got chives and oregano in my garden right now, and they're just, my husband's like, oh my God, we're going to have so much oregano, because I planted a whole flat of it in my garden because I love that particular type. It's called spicy hot oregano, and oh my Lord, it is so good. It tastes and smells just like pizza. And I have a ton of it in my garden. So I've been saving a lot of that. And I do have chives out there. I do have rhubarb that I planted from seed. So that is out there as well, but that takes 2 years. And another thing for collecting seeds too, if you're planting carrots and you want to collect those seeds, it takes like 2 years to get those seeds. You have to do a second year. And a lot of onions are like that too. So you really have to pay attention to what you're planting. And if you're planting for survival, you really need to watch, how fast these things are going to grow for you. So oregano flowers are good for pollinators. Oregano oils diffuse more after flowering, so harvest before it flowers and leave some for the bees. Oh, hey, Crystal. Thanks for stopping by. So, okay, what time is it? Okay, it's 10 o'clock. So we got half an hour to talk about medications. So I just did the seed portion of it, and I'm so glad that you guys participated, kind of gave me some ideas about seeds because, you know, you want the seeds and that are going to grow fast. You want the food that's going to come to you quickly, especially in a survival situation. So what about medications? What do you need? What do you need the most? Is there a neighbor that is allergic to bees? And when you're in a survival situation, I know for me, like me and my neighbors are tight. Like my neighbors across the street, my neighbors next to me, my mom lives next door. We have a compound here of our own, and we may not be blood related, but my mom and I are, but the neighbors aren't, but we watch out for each other. So, I also keep medications on hand. So before everything happens, with the sickness, I went to the Dollar General store and I hooked myself up with a ton of medications that they had for $1. $1. So one of them was Benadryl. One of them was Advil. Another one of them was some cold medications and stuff. And I got it for $1 at Dollar General. And I still have it. I still have it stowed away in my medicine cabinet, just for a rainy day. Benadryl comes in really handy. You get, poison ivy because you were out in the woods cutting wood down or something, and you're itchy, or you have a lot of bug bites, or, so Benadryl comes in really handy. If you have an anxiety attack, take a Benadryl. So those all come in really handy for stuff like that. So yes, and some people are on blood thinners, and things like aspirin. I mean, though you can still take an aspirin a day. I think St. Joseph aspirin is like 70 milligrams or something like that. Not a whole lot, but it does thin your blood. And there are some items out there. There are some herbal medications that you can take that do thin your blood, but you have to really watch, because I know cayenne pepper I was looking up a ton of that. And doing a lot of research on that, because my mom, she has a heart problem, and I was trying to find alternative medications for her. She actually got her heart problem through sleep apnea though. So she just, is on blood thinners now for it to prevent herself from having a stroke. So I was trying to think of different ways that I could help her, but you can't mix the cayenne pepper with blood thinners, because the capsaicin in cayenne pepper can cause stomach ulcers. And if you take too much of it, you can get a stomach ulcer, and it can become deadly. It can become a bleeding ulcer, and then you can have some real problems. So you really have to watch with some herbal medications, because there's a lot of side effects to those that, everybody's like, oh, well, it's natural. It's natural. Yeah, it's natural, but there are side effects to it. So yeah, I keep Benadryl for my dog too. She recently had come across like fleas, and I guess this time around, like in the fall, fleas were like horrible, and she was allergic to the flea bites. We never had this problem before. So she was allergic to the flea bites, and so we gave her Benadryl, and it's really helped her. It really helped her with the itching and the scratching and stuff. So Benadryl comes only handy for you, but it comes in handy for your dogs too. So that is something you definitely want to just keep around, keep in your cupboard and stuff. The chucka mushroom. I'd never heard of that. Can you explain that to me a little bit more? Because I'm really, really curious. It's just been lately that I've been really, really into mushrooms. I actually bought my husband for Christmas a ton of spores, morel spores, to grow. And I had no idea that some mushrooms take up to 2 years to grow, and morel is one of them. And so that's why some of those mushrooms are so expensive. Yeah. See, I take medication. I know my one specific medication. If I didn't have it, I would go through withdrawal. And that is like horrible. And I don't take it for one day and I go through withdrawal. And it is not fun. So I have been stocking up on it. I asked my doctor if I could have more than one prescription of it, so I don't have to keep going back to the pharmacy. And so I stock up on it. Chaga is a cool mushroom. What do I have a video on? I'm sorry, I'm not keeping up with the chat, so I apologize. I don't know. Hey, Homestead Odyssey. I really appreciate you coming in. Thank you. I appreciate it. And thanks, Crystal, for coming in and hanging out with us. And so, yeah, so those are just some medications that I just want to stow away for a rainy day. Advil is one of them, though it's not something that you can, take some real pain away. You can take it like, I think up to 800 milligrams or something like that. So a day. So if you did have something, serious going on, you could take that. And if you couldn't get to the hospital or something like that. Yeah. I felt really bad. One of my dogs when I was younger, got stung right here on the eye, and their eye blew up really big. So I felt really bad. We did give them some Benadryl for that. Yes. What about vitamins? Okay. So I'm a huge vitamin taker. Okay. And I'm going to list that along with medications because you definitely need vitamins. And if you are, say, for instance, you're living off the lands because, the food supply is shut down and you can't get to things. Okay. You're going to need vitamins. Why? Because you're not going to be getting enough. You're going to need vitamins. So I stock up. I stock up on vitamin D. I take cinnamon. I take L-lysine. I take garlic. I take all those things every single day. And even a multivitamin. If you can stock up on multivitamins, those are great too. Stay away from gummies. And I know that for a fact because when I was pregnant, they said not to take gummies because when you take gummies, you get less of the vitamins. So I would stay away from that. Oh, hey, Gail. Welcome back. You have your hands full. I have a handful just with one son, 4 boys. I don't think I can. You're ripping out my hair. I don't think I can handle it. So you have your hands full. Yeah, I take vitamins every day. I used to take the prenatal vitamins. You really have to watch vitamins. Men especially, you should not take iron. Do not take iron if you're a man, unless you are severely anemic and have issues. Do not take iron because men can't get rid of iron. Women, however, can get rid of iron. So you should probably take an iron pill. Hate to be gross, but during your time of month, maybe take iron. But I really, unless you're super low, do not take iron. I used to take prenatal meds, and those had with iron, and I would take them at night before I'd go to bed. And if I didn't take them when I ate something, my stomach would hurt so bad. I would get so sick. So make sure that you are taking vitamins with food. Yes. You really need to watch your iron intake. It can cause a lot of issues. And that's including zinc. Zinc is an iron, like it's not iron, but it's a metal. So you just have to be really, really careful with how much of that kind of stuff you take. And I wouldn't say contact your doctor, just look it up and see. I mean, there's so many resources out there. You don't need to contact your doctor for everything. If I did that, my doctor would hate me. Yes, what's funny is growing up, my uncle lives down the street, and he has a farm, a really big farm. And growing up, they would have big butchering parties. And I was like 8 years old or something, and they'd all be butchering in the barn, and I would see like cows hanging from the barn and stuff like that. And so it like really did something to me when I was younger. And I used to like not eat any meat at all. And up to about like 5 years ago, I have really had a hard time eating like things like steak. When I had issues with my gallbladder, I couldn't eat like burgers or anything like that because it was like a highly greasy type foods. So I couldn't eat any of that. So I kind of turned to steak for like an extra added protein. And I actually learned how to like order my steak and stuff, because I think that's what my real problem was, is I really didn't know how to order a steak. And, you know, you just have to tell them what you want. But, you know, I was getting it well done, and then it would come back as a brick, and it was gross. And like, that's not how I would really wanted to eat it. But I knew I didn't want like it mooing at me either. So I just had to like learn how to order a steak out too. So I've actually really learned how to like steak. And actually the best steak I ever had in my entire life is where Crystal lives in Gettysburg. There's a place there called the Farnsworth House. And we were on our honeymoon. I bought like a $35 steak, and it was the best steak I had ever eaten in my entire life. I ate the entire thing. It was absolutely amazing. So, best steak I ever had. Yeah, I don't like blood in my meat at all. And if I just cut into it and see it, it turns me off. And I have such a weird, and not that I have a gag reflex, like I don't gag at it or anything, but I instantly don't feel like eating. So yes, the Farnsworth House is awesome. Loved that. I loved Gettysburg. I had so many awesome experiences. And speaking of Gettysburg, it was really funny. We stayed in this bed and breakfast there, which was absolutely wonderful. And there was this Australian couple staying there as well. And we like spent our entire honeymoon hanging out with this Australian couple. We had such a good time. We drank wine together, and we went places together, and we just had such a good time. And they were just there on vacation because they were like going to Cleveland or something to meet up with friends. But he was from Ireland and she was from Australia, and they both lived in Australia, and we hung out with them like the entire time, and we had such a good time. We had such a blast. Yeah, I get medium well. That's what I get. And sometimes I tell them specifically, I said, I like medium well, but I don't want it to be a brick. I said, you know, I always tell them that. And when I get it back, typically, unless it's like Applebee's or something where they don't really care, I usually get my steak back perfect. And there's some restaurants here called Texas Roadhouse, and they have some really good steaks as well, but it's not Farnsworth quality. I can tell you that. But yeah, so let's list some other medications. What else are you putting aside for a rainy day? NyQuil, Dayquil, any of those? You plan on getting sick? You know, what other meds will you be putting away? I'm curious. Go ahead and list them in the chat. Now I'm curious. Hey, good morning. Getting started on the homestead. It's not morning, but not here anyway. Okay, so what about, fish mox? What's that? Is that like that fish antibiotic? Kid allergy meds. That's a good one. My son was sick over Labor Day weekend, and I pumped him up with some elderberry and honey, and I got an allergy medication for him. I forget what it's called. It's Zyrtec. Got him some kids Zyrtec, pumped him full of that, and he was over his cold in like 2 days. It was awesome. Oh, he's in Kentucky. Okay. Well, maybe he's drinking. Yeah, first aid stuff is great to have on hand, guys. I know many a times my husband's doing something outside and we don't have a Band-Aid. And that's happened multiple times. Well, sorry, you're going to have to use a towel because I don't have a Band-Aid. Those things are really important to have in a medicine cabinet, especially if you have kids. kids always scrape their knees or hurt themselves or something like that. So you definitely want to have all of that on hand. My grandmother always thought she was a nurse, always. So she had iodine pads, swabs, and gauze and all that stuff. She always had that on hand. And if we any of us needed anything, we'd go right here to grandma's house, right where I live, and my grandma would fix it. So yeah, lots of Band-Aids. And don't forget to buy Band-Aids that they're not really Band-Aids, but they're the gauze strips, and some tape as well. Because a lot of times, you don't want to put, if you have a big cut, you don't want to put like 6 Band-Aids on it, So yeah. Okay, Zara, I'm going to send you some Band-Aids. Yeah, amoxicillin is really something good to have on hand. And if you have to get the right one from the fish store. Around here, I don't know if they're still open anymore because of everything that's going on. But around here, we had a ton of saltwater fish stores, and they have a ton of that kind of stuff in. So you can purchase it there, but just make sure you get the right fish amoxicillin, because if you get the other one, it can kill you. So. Hey, Paragon Paragon Ridge Ranch. I almost called you Paragon Ranch Ridge. Hi, guys. Thanks for coming in. Oh, well, that's good. So something happens to me, I'm making a trip down to you, Jess. I might bleed out by the time I get there. Yes, extra inhalers. A good thing also for people that have asthma is to have coffee on hand, because really strong coffee opens your airways, and the caffeine helps. So that is something also, and in case of an emergency, you can make some quick coffee and drink that as well, and that helps your chest. Okay, so I know we were talking about blood thinners and stuff like that. Had anybody came up with anything else? Like, as far as I know, cayenne pepper is supposed to be really good for, blood thinners type of stuff, but you have to be really careful with it. And so what other blood thinner? I can't remember. There was something else that somebody said. I think it was like slippery elm or something like that. If there's any other type of stuff that you can take that helps, please list that below, because people need to know that information. I wasn't too sure myself, so. Thank you for that information, Gil. That's a good one, and it's worth highlighting. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can get my mouse to work here. I'm going to show that one up. Thank you, Gil. Great information. Cinnamon will clot the blood. Well, that's good, because I always have cinnamon on hand, because I take that daily. I take 1,000 milligrams of cinnamon a day. I've been using beer for years. Well, I guess, yeah, beer and alcohol is a blood thinner. However, there's other side effects to that as well. Slippery elm is an abortive. I take whiskey as a blood thinner. Now, okay, on a serious note, though, you take whiskey as a blood thinner, but what do you do? Do you drink, what do you drink, a fifth a day, or do you drink a shot a day? Oop, hold on. Okay, I was messing with my screen by accident there. So, okay. When we cut wood with a chainsaw, we always have cinnamon with us. That's a great, great way. Wine, that's what I should be drinking. Wine, especially, okay, wine is really good for your heart. Of course, not the sugary wine. It has to be really dry, but wine is really, red wine specifically is really, really good for you. It just has to be the kind that doesn't taste very good. Okay, all right. Now you mentioned turmeric or turmeric. I don't know how people say it. Okay, I was watching somebody and okay, all my life I thought it was borage. Borage. And my husband and I were making fun of it, like porridge is like porridge, you know, we're talking borage. But then somebody said barrage. It totally blew our mind. So turmeric or turmeric, however you want to say it. How do you grow that in Ohio? Put that below because it's cold here. And I know turmeric is like an Indian root and it's grown over there. But how do you grow it in Ohio? It is not warm here. So I'm curious how that, and Patty, if you can tell me that, that'd be great because I'm curious. Yeah, grape juice is really good for you too. It has a lot of vitamin C. So if you feel yourself getting sick, grape juice is really good for you. Also, you know, something that's really, really good for you is unpasteurized apple cider. It has to be unpasteurized. I only drink unpasteurized. I won't drink anything from the store. I go straight to, there's an apple orchard like maybe 20 minutes from here. And I go straight there and I get the cider from them, and it's not pasteurized. Pasteurized involves heat, so it strips any good thing from the cider and just basically turns it to sugar. So then it's not good for you. But when you get the unpasteurized, they do kill off the bugs using a UV light. And it's not pasteurized. They just use a UV light, and they pass it under the light, and it kills off any germs that could be in there. But it still keeps all the good stuff in there. Oh, I love apple cider. Love it. I even like hard apple cider, but I really love apple cider. Yes, I like port wine, and I really like port wine cheese. Yeah, I have apple trees here. I have 5 apple trees on my side yard, and I have 2 really big apple trees out back that my grandfather planted like 60 years ago. I mean, he planted them a long time ago. And those big apple trees get a ton of apples, but my side ones, they're only like not even 8 years old, and they get little teeny apples on them and they rot before you can even eat them. It's horrible. But eventually what I would like to do is, you know, I thought about just spraying them down with neem oil. I got to find a way to organically get the bugs off of these trees. My buddy takes a shot of apple cider vinegar. That is so good for you. Yes. It tastes horrible though. You know, I see all these people out here making that fire cider, you know, and they're like, oh, throw in some apple cider vinegar, you know, with the mother in it. And I'm like, I wonder what that would taste like. So, okay, I went to the store, right? And they have these apple cider vinegar drinks with a hint of cinnamon or a hint of grape juice. And I had it. It's horrible. Horrible. Chickens under the trees. That's a really good idea. Unfortunately, my trees are extremely close to my neighbor's property, and they would probably flip out. Long story, but the people that lived here before us had chickens, and they were everywhere and would crap a lot on their property and on their porch and on their cars. And so if I had my chickens anywhere like close to their property, I think they would flip out a little bit. Yes, apple cider vinegar is really good for you, but I just can't get past that taste. Not to mention, is it just you or me, or does it burn a little bit when you drink it? I'm just like, ugh. Like it makes me kind of want to gag. Oh, that's a good idea to put it in your tea. Maybe it'll disguise the horrible taste. Yeah, we had to get a chicken tractor. We thought about getting meat birds and doing the chicken tractor thing with the meat birds and putting them in the side yard over there. That's a really good idea. Yeah, add honey. That's a good idea. To make it more palatable. Okay, so apple cider vinegar. Anybody ever make apple cider vinegar? What if you're in a situation where you can't have it anymore? Can you make it? You never had apple cider vinegar, Dutch? Oh, you're missing out. Not really. It's really gross. But I do give it to my birds. I give it to my chickens every once in a while. You're not supposed to give it to them all the time, but I'll give it to them every once in a while. Hey, fishes. Thanks for coming in. Also check out, oh, good. Here's another one. Gil is always filled with information. Awesome. Thank you, Gil. Also check out the book, Alton's Antibiotics and Infectious Disease, the layman's guide to available antibacterials in usher settings. I had Dr. Bones and Nurse Amy on my live stream last year. Awesome. They're pretty cool. That's cool. Hey, old school. Thanks for coming in. They think my tractor's sexy. Oh, Darren, you crank me up. I hope you're coming to our pajama party. It's a half hour right after this. So you better come because you are the life of the party. So, okay. I only got like 3 more minutes. I thought we could just BS and chat a little bit. I really want to thank everybody for coming. This is the most people I've had in a chat in a long time. So I really appreciate y'all coming and just chilling and talking about these stuff. This stuff kind of really was a topic I was kind of passionate about, and I just wanted to talk about it. Yeah, okay, I'm going to tell you my story, all right? I made this awesome video about banana vinegar, right? And I had all these bananas. I'm like, what do I do with all these, peels? And I was like, oh, I'm going to make banana vinegar, Then the stuff won't go to waste. So I made banana vinegar, and it was horrible. Horrible. And it turned out horrible. And I was like, man, I'm never doing this again. So I'm going to have to try it. And I got a ton of apples here. I can just make apple cider vinegar probably. So, but yeah. Aw, I'm so glad you came. Seriously. Thank you. Yeah. My son eats a banana every day. It is hilarious. That's like, okay, so my mom has done this thing where she brings over a banana and then he calls her Nana too. So it's really funny. He gets bananas from Nana. And so she'll bring over bananas, but sometimes in the morning when I go and pick him up from his crib, he'll be like, Nana. It is so cute. Yes, that is fertilizer. Yeah, I have a whole jar like rotting in my cupboard and I haven't done anything with it yet. I guess I should just dump it out and put it in my cupboard. I put it in my garden. Banana Nana. Yep. Yes. And basically you can make a vinegar pretty much out of anything with water, sugar, and like you can make a blueberry vinegar if you really wanted to, or raspberry vinegar. It just takes time. And then when you are done with the week or whatever, and you pull it, you have to add a little more sugar to it and then put it in the back in the cupboard. And you have to make sure it's in a really dark place and stuff like that. I've never heard of that, Jess. Ooh, I'm all about brandy, so mango brandy sounds amazing. Nice banana, old school. Yeah, it would. Banana Nana. Oh, thank you. Oops, I clicked on the wrong one. check that out. You can go to that. Oh, you know what? You might have just left it in there for too long. I mean, if you add sugar to anything, it's going to get hard. It's going to turn hard if you leave it in there for too long. So you just have to watch. But yeah, like you can, I mean, if you had apple cider vinegar sitting out for too long, it can turn hard too. I don't know what homemade milk kefir is. If you can tell me what that is. But okay, I really like kombucha from what I have tasted of it. I get these little tea bags from the grocery store. It's Yogi, and they make kombucha and they put it in the tea bags. And then I have that. However, I think the SCOBY and actually making it would gross me out. Like I've seen, you know, people like in their videos, they hold up the SCOBY for like the thumbnail of their video, and I'm just like, bleh, like I can't watch it. And I don't know why I'm like that, but I am. So I'm so glad that you can spell bananas. You just got to think of that song. This is the goofiest bunch. I'm having such a good time. Oh, the SCOBY looks so gross. And yes, it does look like a placenta. So gross. But I mean, it's really good for you, right? I can't do it. It feels like a piece of rubber. I know, it's so hard though, Patty. It's so hard. I get grossed out so easily. And it's really funny because I was just in the chicken coop earlier, and I was cleaning out their poop and stuff. And that didn't, I'm like, I'm just cleaning out chicken poop. Doesn't really gross me out. However, SCOBY to kombucha grosses me out. Interesting about that. All right, y'all. It is 10:33, and I'm thinking about closing this chat. I got about a half hour before Keto Jess and I go live at 11 o'clock with Sherry. We're going to have a really good time, good, clean fun. Come and hang out with us. Forget about the world for a while and hang out with us. We're going to be in our pajamas, and hopefully you are too, but we won't be able to see you. But we're going to be in our pajamas and hang out with us. It's from 11 to 12, or if we're really feeling froggy, we might go later. Ooh, that's the mystery of it all. So yeah, head on over there at 11 o'clock. And thank you, Fishes. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Sherry. Thanks, Old School. Thanks, Patty. Everybody, Homestead Odyssey, Gil, and his evil twin. Thanks for coming in. I really appreciate it, guys. This was a really great live. And thanks, Dutch, for stopping in. I really appreciate it. And y'all have a good night. We'll see you at 11. All right. Bye.